Hello everyone, welcome to another session of Poverty Talk Live. So today we'll be talking about the biggest real estate that keep people broke. So thank you very much for joining us on the shift for the time and date for our program. We really, really appreciate. So moving on, we'll be talking about the biggest real estate mistake that broke. That's our topic for today, like I said. So let me be very honest with you. Most people do not lose money in real estate because they don't have money, like we all know. They lose money because they make the wrong decisions. So if you've been following us and be watching our videos, our previous videos, you would see. I mean, would have known about these mistakes. We mentioned some mistakes, and now you can avoid those mistakes and things that you can do if you want to invest in real estate in order not to make mistakes with your investments. So, and as I've always said, people lose money because they make the wrong decisions because they are not informed. And the painful part is this: most of these mistakes are completely avoidable, but people don't people don't know them. People don't know these mistakes at all, and that's why they continue to repeat these mistakes again and again and again. And that's why when you see someone earning well but still struggling financially, and then you see some people, they buy properties, they buy different properties, but they never really grow their wealth. They do not know how to grow their money. That is the capital they invest in real estate. So today I'm going to be breaking down the biggest real estate mistake that keep people broke in real estate. Not the theory, not motivation, just the real mistakes. And more importantly, I'm going to tell you how to avoid these mistakes also. So if you've ever thought to yourself that why am I not making progress in real estate? Stay with me. This session is for you. Because this might change everything for you to change your mindset and everything you think about the mistakes that you're making while investing in real estate. So let's start with the biggest mistake. First mistake is buying without a strategy. And this one is very, very common. People buy land, they buy houses, they invest. But if you ask them one simple question, why did you buy this property? They can't give you a clear answer as to why they bought the property. Probably because other people are buying it, their friends, a friend bought it, that's why they're buying it, or because they see that the building is very fine. But there's no clear answer that shows that they bought that property with strategy. There's no clear answer. They will not be able to give you a clear answer. Some people will just tell you, okay, I just wanted to own something. I also want to have an estate in my name. Others will say, oh, I heard it's a good deal. And so many other reasons. But listen carefully. Owning a property is not the same as building wealth. Owning a property is not building wealth. Because if your property is not growing, if your property is not appreciating, then if it's not generating value for you and it's just sitting there and time is passing, then I'll say it's just a liability because there's no I don't know how you want to take care of something that you bought that you owned because property is something that will stay for a very long time. It doesn't really matter how, but it's going to stay for a very long time. And if you're not maintaining it and treating it right, how do you expect it to appreciate? So because people that are smart, like the smart investors, they do not just buy a property. They buy it with intentions. They ask themselves, oh, what is my goal for getting this property? What is the expected growth of this property that I want to buy? And what is my exit plan just in case things go wrong or in case of emergency or I just want to resell? What is my exit plan? Because in real estate, profit is not by accident, it's by design. It's the way the strategy in which you bought that property will determine how much profit you're going to take. So buying based on emotion is another big mistake in real estate. And it's very, very dangerous. Just because it feels right, you want to buy it. But at the end of the day, to produce wrong results. Many people will see a fine house, beautiful furnishing, nice environment, and immediately they just fall in love with the house. And once emotion enters, logic leaves. You can't think straight once your emotions are in the way. You can't think straight about why you're buying that property or how useful that property will be for you, the benefit you'll be getting. You do not wait to check the growth potential of that property the demand for that property, the future development of that area, the environment of that property, the return on investment. Because if you're buying a property, you're investing. So you should be expecting profit. But some people do not consider all of this. They just go ahead and buy the property. Why? Because it feels good. But real estate is not about feelings. I'm talking to those who want to build a wealth of portfolio with real estate. It's not about feelings, it's about numbers and positioning. So if it looks good but it doesn't grow, then it's a bad investment. Just let it sink in. If the property looks good but it doesn't grow, then it's a very bad investment. You need to remove your emotions, put your emotions out of the way, and then focus on the location growth, the market demand, the entry timing, because that's also very, very important. When you enter, when you decide to buy that property, is so, so important. So you're not buying beyond what you're supposed to buy. You're not paying above what you're supposed to pay for. And that's exactly how wealth is built with real estate. Another mistake is ignoring the location potential. Location, location, location. Most people misunderstand this. They think it means buying in expensive area, buying in an area that is already exposed, that is already developed. No, that's not strategy. Because when a place is already expensive, a lot of the growth has already happened. Even if there are going to be further growth, it will not be like when you're buying when it's still developing. You are buying when it's already developed. So your upside is very, very limited. But smart investors, they think differently. They ask themselves, where is the next growth coming from before they go ahead and invest or buy a property in that area. They do not look for areas that are already developed. They look for developed area. They do not look for areas that have infrastructure already. They look for area with new infrastructure where redevelopment is coming soon. They do not look for areas that are already expanded and exposed. They look for expansion zones where it's still expanding and people do not really know much about, but there's a high potential that that place is going to be be in great demand in the future. So then they position themselves early before the crowd, before the hype, before the price increase, and that's where the real money is made. So you do not follow the market. You position yourself ahead of the market. But another mistake is waiting too long. Another is a silent killer, actually. Waiting. It feels safe, actually, but it's very, very expensive because you're supposed to buy at the early stage when it's still very cheap. And then you're going to buy when everything is almost complete. Meanwhile, you would have paid very little and still get the same value. In fact, your value is going to appreciate and then you'll be loving the profit you'll be getting from it. And most people will say, oh, they're not ready yet. They need more money. They'll do it next year. But what they do not realize is that every year that you wait to invest in that property, the price moves, the price increases. That land that you saw last year is not the same price today. And next year, it will become even higher and you might not even be able to afford it again because you've been saving, but your savings will never be enough because the way the prices of land and other estates spike is very very high, higher than you can imagine at times. So while you think you're being careful, you are losing your ground, and over time that delay becomes very very expensive. So like I said, waiting is not cost, it's not safe, it's costly, it's very very expensive. Another mistake is not reinvesting. And that's where most people miss it completely. Once they invest once in real estate and they've gotten their profits, they stop. But if you're the type that wants to build a good portfolio with real estate, you know you definitely have to invest. You not just buy a property and then relax. Relax. Real estate is not, it's not built like that. It's built through repetition. You invest, you take out your profits, you invest again. You take out your profits, you invest again. You invest, you grow, you invest, you scale again and again and again and again. Consistency. And that's how portfolios are built. And that's how your wealth will continue to compound, continue to increase. But if you stop at one, you limit your growth. It's just a one-time thing. And your growth is already paused. So buying just one property is not a strategy if you want to build wealth or have a good portfolio in real estate. Buying just one property is not a strategy, but it's a starting point for you to continue to reinvest. So another mistake here is lack of guidance. That's another big mistake. Trying to do everything alone. trying to do everything on your own, you feel like you know everything, because real estate is not a guesswork. Actually, it's not a trial and error. It's a strategic place, and without proper guidance from professionals, you are liable to make avoidable mistakes that you could have avoided. You will definitely make mistakes because you choose wrong locations. You might enter at the wrong time. You might be missing better opportunities, all because you do not have direction. But when you work with the right people, you work with the right professionals, everything changes. Your clarity improves, your confidence increases, and there are better results. You start seeing better results. So the right guidance can save you years of mistakes actually. So another mistake is thinking short term. One of the biggest mistake and blockage that keeps people broke, even though they own properties, is the mindset problem, short-term thinking. Because people want quick results, they want fast returns, they want immediate profit. But real estate doesn't work like that. Real estate only rewards patience, consistency, and a vision. So when you buy right and you hold on, you buy right and you hold, the value of that property will definitely grow. It will definitely appreciate. There will be so many opportunities, and the opportunities are going to expand. And with time, you start winning because you start getting your profits. Because real estate is not a quick game, it's a long term wealth strategy. So let me leave you with this. If you avoid these mistakes that I've outlined, you're already ahead of most people in this real estate industry. So you do not need to be perfect, like I said. You just need to be strategic. Start small, start with one property, and then you continue to invest. And before you know it, your wealth is building, because in real estate, your results are not determined by your decisions. So the question is not, can I build wealth through real estate? The real question that you should be asking yourself is, am I ready to stop making these mistakes and then follow the right path to invest in real estate? And if your answer is yes, then your journey starts now. Thank you very much for joining us on today's live session. See you next time. Bye.